The tight end spot is a lot more important for the Eagles than it is for a lot of teams in the NFL. They like to implement their 2 to 3 tight end sets. They line their tight ends out wide to create some mismatch problems. We've seen that with Trey Burton and Zach Ertz, double moves on the outside. We've seen the utilization of tight ends in the red zone, being able to come down with contested catches in tight spaces, working the seam, going up and getting it. Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz, that's something they love to do once they got inside the 20. But you look at the roster right now, Trey Burton is in Chicago. Brent Selleck is still free agent. So all you got right now is Zach Ertz. So what do you do at the tight end spot? Well, Brent Selleck is still free agent, as I explained. I would have thought, though, if the Eagles wanted to bring him back, he'd be back by now, but we'll see about that. The other option as a free agent that I would consider, this is a no-name, by the way. This maybe not even somebody you're even thinking of, but I got Levine Toilolo. He's 26 years old. He's formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. He actually played a game at tackle one game because there were so many injuries along the Atlanta offensive line that they had to plug him in at tackle, and he actually fared pretty admirably. So as you can kind of guess, he's a blocking tight end, and that's something that the Eagles kind of need because with Ertz, more of a pass catcher, he's gotten better as a blocker, but by no means is it a strength of his. And Billy Brown, another name that's a lot of people are talking about, had a really good preseason last year, good training camp, but he's more of a receiver too. He was a wide receiver in college. So he's making that transition, and as a blocker right now, he's just not cutting it. So if you go into the season with Zach Ertz and Billy Brown, or into the draft, with Zach Ertz and Billy Brown, you would think that you'd want to draft a blocking tight end. And the thing about this tight end class is a lot of these guys are more pass catchers, and we're seeing this more and more each tight end class. Blocking is becoming a lost art. And, some of the guys at the top, Mike Gesicki is a name that everybody seems to want to draft. A lot of Penn State fans in the area, obviously. I could care less about Penn State and the Tickle Monsters. I went to Temple. Hail to the T. But I will say this, Mike Gesicki is a hell of a football player. He's really good in the red zone, makes contested catches, solid route runner. He's actually what you're looking for if you're the Eagles. He fits what they want to do, but he can't block. And if you bring somebody on that can't block, you have Ertz, you have Gesicki and Brown, where's your blocking going to come from? Not only do the Eagles like to use those 2 to 3 tight end sets to throw the ball, they actually like to run the ball too off those sets. More bodies on the line of scrimmage helps the running game out. But how much is it going to help when those tight ends can't block? So Gesicki, if you draft him, you would also have to draft another tight end later. And is that something that the Eagles want to do? Obviously not a lot of holes in the roster. So if Gesicki is the best player on the board when you're picking at 32, and if you don't trade back, okay, maybe you consider him. But would you rather have a tight end, a safety, a linebacker, a tackle, wide receiver, running back? We'll see. So some guys to think about in the middle rounds, more adept at blocking. I got Durham Smythe in Notre Dame and Troy Fumagalli of Wisconsin. So those are 2 names to look for if you're an Eagles fan, middle rounds, if the Eagles want to draft a blocking tight end. That's if they don't sign somebody. By the way, speaking of free agency, I'm not sure if I brought this up yet, but I don't want anything to do with Eric Ebron. I don't want anything to do with Antonio Gates. I don't want anything to do with Julius Thomas. I've had those names brought up to me, mentioned to me. Ew. No, I don't want any of them. Just stay away from those guys at this point. Antonio Gates, obviously, future Hall of Famer, but with the Eagles needing more of a blocking tight end, these guys are just not what you want. You want blockers. That's why I brought up Levine Toilolo, the non-sexy name. And in terms of the NFL draft, you may want to draft the non-sexy name. So that's where I'm getting at here. But the two tight ends that I like at the top of the class, I like Gesicki. He is my number one tight end. And the other one, I've been watching tape of this Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. I'm pretty impressed with what I'm seeing. Breaks a lot of tackles. I mean, geez, he's a beast out there. Will drop the ball, though. Don't like seeing that. So, but I like him. So there's kind of my thoughts there on the NFL draft. A little bit at the tight end spot. By the way, Brendan and I will be starting to do some, I guess, NFL draft videos coming up next week, either next week or the week after. We're going to start looking at prospects, diving in, looking at strengths, looking at weaknesses. Brendan right now getting married today. So all my Bitter Birds people getting married, getting hooked up, tied up. So congratulations to him. And we'll see when he comes back, and we'll start pounding those out. First guy we're going to do is Leighton Vander Esch. So I've been watching a lot of him, really breaking it down, and we're going to break down a lot of different prospects. So, but this is a tight end video. Just wanted to get my thoughts out there a little bit because a lot of people want Mike Gesicki, but if you want to draft Mike Gesicki, you also have to have a little bit of foresight and understanding of the roster before you draft him. So it doesn't mean the Eagles won't draft him. But if you draft a tight end and you don't go into the draft with a blocking tight end, well, you're going to have to draft two of them. And are the Eagles going to want to draft two tight ends? We'll see. So there's that. And there's this video. I'm out. Peace.